Right now at 6, grass fires in Wilson County have first responders at work containing the spread.
And we've got a warm and windy day today. Clouds increasing and then some shower and thunderstorm chances overnight tonight. Look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, local Girl Scouts put their construction skills to the test at the Crossland Technology Center.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is Monday. It's March the 3rd, and March is, March 1st, of course, the unofficial start to spring. And it's been very spring-like here lately.
It certainly
and
has.
Unfortunately, spring also comes with thunderstorm chances.
Yes.
We've got those chances as we head into tonight and tomorrow. And then, of course, because it's not officially spring yet, it's still technically winter. We'll get a little bit of that as well.
Getting it all this week.
We are. In the next 48 hours, really, we're going to get everything. But we got to get you through your Monday first. I know I've thrown a lot at you to start your Monday, but let's worry about heading out the door, getting to school, doing that stuff. And here's what you can expect as we look outside downtown Pittsburgh. We've got mostly cloudy skies across a good portion of the area. Clouds continue to increase from the west, so we may even get some points of partly to cloudy, maybe even some mostly clear skies for a moment this morning before those clouds really start to ramp up out there. Moonlight camera 32nd in range line, looking pretty good as well this morning. I mean, take a look. I want to mention high wind watch, something we don't typically see in our area, but that's what this is here for most of southeast Kansas through Wednesday morning. And in this zone, we could see winds gusting upwards of 60 miles an hour. That is outside of thunderstorms. We're not talking about thunderstorm winds. This is just winds. Gusting up to 60, could be sustained 20 to 40. Now, this is a high wind watch. I want to emphasize it's going to be breezy across the entire region, but if this is upgraded to a warning at any point, that means we're talking extremely windy conditions across parts of southeastern Kansas. For today, though, again, clouds will continue to increase out there. Will not stop our temperatures from being fairly mild. And we'll also have those south winds gusting again for most of us up to 30, maybe 35 miles an hour as we head through the afternoon and evening. Now, over the next 48 hours, we also have thunderstorm chances. This is, again, today really also includes after midnight tonight because today goes through, I think, 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. We do have a low to slightly elevated risk for some strong to low-grade severe thunderstorms between midnight and 2 a.m. roughly because, by the way, we're not expecting any storms today. That's why I'm emphasizing, too, this is really overnight tonight. Then as we head into tomorrow, that low risk spreads across the entire region, and that's for those line of storms that's going to start rolling in late tonight and continue through the first half of our Wednesday. Now, all hazards are possible, but some good news at least. All of them are in that low risk category. So hopefully they will remain that way. And that way maybe we'll just get some thunderstorms with some much needed rain and not much more. That would certainly be nice. A little chilly in some spots this morning. We got some upper 30s here and there. The majority of us, though, into the low to mid 40s. So kids getting on that bus, looking about the mid 40s. South winds gusting to 20, mostly cloudy. Mostly cloudy skies when the bus brings them home. Low 60s and south winds now gusting 30, maybe to 35 miles an hour. That's where our highs are headed, low to mid 60s. And again, clouds continue to thicken up until we're just straight up cloudy by late this evening. We're going to talk more about these thunderstorm chances. We'll go over the timing of this line of storms, and we'll talk about the potential snow on the backside of all of this here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the Wilson County Rural Fire Department responded to 2 different grass fires in the county. The department released on Facebook that they were paged out to one fire south of Fredonia and another southeast of Altoona. The county is currently not under any burn ban. However, the department has issued the opportunity to remind people if they have brush piles burning that it's important to check and recheck them. Well, some business and restaurant owners in Ozark, Missouri are complaining about a new service fee on their utility bills for fat oil and grease traps. $19.25 a month starting in April. Now, grease can accumulate in sewer lines leading to blockages, and grease traps catch those oils and keep them from entering the sewer system. Now, according to a letter sent to businesses by the city, the service fee will support regular inspections and program administration to ensure grease traps are functioning properly. However, some business owners say they already paid to maintain the traps on their own. And the Stained Glass Theater in Ozark mostly serves prepackaged concessions, but since the building has a small grease trap, the nonprofit will have to pay that new fee.
I think the flat fee is not the best way to go about this. For us, our water bill is about $40 a month, and this flat fee is $20 a month. So that's a significant increase for us. And as a nonprofit ministry, we don't have a lot of way to recoup those funds.
Ozark City officials say the Board of Aldermen approved the monthly fee to prevent costly blockages and sewer backups caused by fats, oils, and grease. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. Now, the player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, five-time Grammy-nominated musician Justin Roberts made a stop at the Cornell Complex. His appearance is a part of the Connect to Culture Ignite series. For the past 25 years, Roberts has created soundtracks for kids and their families. Justin and his band, the Not Ready for Nap Time Players, brought the music to the stage for the four-state audience.
There's so much fun to expect at the show. That's number one. We've also kind of created a dance floor for kids in the very front of the performance hall, which is kind of cool at the Cornell Complex. Connect to Culture's home theater, the B Shore Performance Hall, can kind of shape shift. And so we've created this dance floor for kids to just have a good time, get the wiggles out, and just enjoy the music.
The performance took place at 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon. And local Girl Scouts were invited to the Crossland Technology Center to learn more about STEM and construction careers. KOAM's Mitch Adams has more.
Honestly, it makes me really excited. I get goosebumps coming and doing this every year. And I know that if I was a young girl like they are and I had this, I would love it.
Area Girl Scouts gathered at the Crossland Technology Center to kick off Women in Construction Week. The Scouts had a hands-on opportunity to learn about different career fields in science, technology, math, and engineering.
If you're artistic or if you love math or anything, there's a spot for you in construction, from scheduling to being out in the field every day to being an architect. We have a spot for everyone, and I think every young girl getting experience on it now will just make picking a career later on just that much better. Stations in construction, plastics engineering, and manufacturing let the girls build birdhouses and try casting metals and plastics.
Well, it's not often that you get this type of hands-on experience to see these different type of careers that they might want to follow one day. So I think it's great for them to be able to see different types of careers in that type of STEM field.
This event exposes new career opportunities to young girls who may not have had a chance to learn about them before.
It's exciting and a little bit scary to watch them using a nail gun, but it was definitely exciting, and seeing things that I might not as a leader have actually been able to, get them to do, so they're getting these hands-on experience, so it's super exciting.
In Pittsburgh, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
And Girl Scouts are in the middle of cookie season and can be found selling in front of area stores. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The Education Department offers its employees $25,000 to quit or retire by the end of today. Plus, fallout continues after the Oval Office clash between President Trump and Ukraine's president. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Monday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning. Well, if you are flying American Airlines later this spring, make sure you are at the gate early. The airline has announced that it will add 5 minutes to the boarding times for all of its domestic flights. Now, a spokesperson says the additional time will help relieve some of the congestion on the jet bridge due to the pauses between the boarding groups. The airline also says it hopes the move will lower the amount of passengers who have to gate check their carry-on bags. American says flight attendants will now have more time to find space for bags in the overhead bins. And the Education Department is offering a buyout of up to $25,000 to many of its employees. An email from the agency's top human resources official states employees have until today at 11:59 p.m. to decide if they want to accept the one-time offer. The email says the offer is in advance of a, quote, very significant reduction in force. Eligible employees include those who have worked for the federal government for at least 3 years. They also cannot have received a student loan repayment benefit in the last 3 years. The resignations would take effect at the end of the month. And leaders of European countries rallied around Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky after his contentious visit to the U.S. last week. And they say they have to do the heavy lifting to bring about an end to the 3-year-long war between Russia and Ukraine, but maintain there must be strong backing from the U.S. Derek Waller reports from New York.
More fallout after Friday's Oval Office clash between President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right.
The blow-up left a deal to give the U.S. partial access to Ukraine's minerals unsigned. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says it's off the table for now.
It is impossible to have an economic deal without a peace deal.
Across the Atlantic in London, more than a dozen leaders from Europe and Canada met with Zelensky for an emergency summit. Afterwards, United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the group is working on a Russia-Ukraine peace deal to present to President Trump. In the meantime, Starmer said the group will bolster military aid to Ukraine and look at building a coalition of peacekeeping troops from Europe.
Europe must do the heavy lifting, but to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong U.S. backing.
While in London, Zelensky told reporters he believes he can salvage his relationship with President Trump. In Moscow Sunday, Russia's top diplomat praised the president's handling of his meeting with Zelensky. The president later posted on social media, "We should spend less time thinking about Putin and more time worrying about migrants." Meanwhile, multiple U.S. officials tell CBS News Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has directed U.S. Cyber Command to pause planning against Russia, including offensive digital actions. The duration and reason for the pause are unclear as the president pushes for a peace deal. Derek Waller, CBS News.
Well, tomorrow night, President Trump will lay out his agenda in a speech before a joint session of Congress. It comes as the president's tariffs of 25% are set to kick in on imports from Canada and Mexico, with an extra 10% on goods from China. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Other than the clouds, it is quiet for the time being. But of course, by about this time tomorrow, that will change. Clouds will continue to increase through the day, and it will still be very windy out there. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
Welcome back. Lori Horton joins us in the studio this morning to teach us how to make king cake candy crackers. Say that 10 times fast. Good morning, Lori. How are you doing?
That is a lot for a Monday. I know. I apologize. As we know, Fat Tuesday is tomorrow, the start of our Mardi Gras celebrations, all the fun stuff that's going to be going on in the next couple of days. So we thought it would be fun to do kind of a simple little version of that, something that gets those flavors involved without having to roll out a lot of dough and get too complicated. So this is going to give us all those flavors of Louisiana with the kind of praline, pecan, cinnamon, all of that good stuff in a little bit of a simplified version and kind of a candy in a way.
Oh, that sounds
so
good.
We're going to actually deconstruct it just a little bit. So you guys are going to have to pay attention on this one. Keep up with me. We're going to do this a little bit out of order. And what I've got going on here on the stove top is a couple of sticks plus a couple tablespoons of butter and a cup plus a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar. So we've just got that all nice and melted together, and it's going to start boiling here very quickly.
And what's the right heat to have this on?
You're going to need to have this on kind of a medium high.
Okay.
Be a little bit cautious at first and make sure you let that butter melt. Then put the brown sugar in there and let them kind of dissolve together because it will stay separated for a little bit. And then it will start to come to a boil. And once it starts to boil, you want to try to keep it on there for 2 to 3 minutes. And ours is getting very, very close. And a small saucepan like this is fine. It's going to grow a little bit, but it won't overrun it. And you want to be sure you've got a good whisk in there, that you're keeping it moving constantly, because this is basically going to turn into caramel. So we're going to cook that butter down. We're going to get that sugar going. and we're going to make a caramel sauce. Once it starts to boil, which mine is just about to that point, silicone whisk works well so that you don't have to worry about a hot handle on there. I'm going to add about a teaspoon, generous teaspoon, of cinnamon to that also.
Ooh,
so that's going to get our flavor started in there. That's going to really warm up and mix into that caramel. We're going to, when we come back in our next segment, actually put this together in the right order. But it's pretty simple. And what's really nice is this is a very sweet, obviously, recipe. But we're going to have a base in there of some saltine crackers that'll give us a nice crunch.
Good balance, yeah.
Balance, exactly. A little pinch of salt to it. It's going to just sort of keep everything from being overpowering. But it is something best served in small pieces. Maybe with some coffee, you know, that's our tradition. We go down to Jackson Square, down towards Bourbon Street, have that really strong Louisiana coffee and a really, really sweet dessert that goes with it. It's a perfect combination. So this is starting to boil up, and I don't know how well you guys will be able to see this, but it's going to lighten in color just a little bit. And it's going to just be very thin, very nice, and really just look like a nice pourable caramel. So again, when we come back, we'll layer all those pieces together. We'll have that all topped on there and show you how you put all this up.
All right, sounds like a plan, Lori. Thanks. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 6:23 on this Monday morning. We got a lot to discuss. We're going to start first off with our severe weather risk. Number one, today. Okay, that's day one from the Storm Prediction Center. Day one carries another hour or two into tomorrow morning. So I want to emphasize, while we have a severe threat today, it's not really today, it's after midnight tonight that we'll start to see a line of showers and storms roll in. That does come with a low to elevated risk for some strong to low grade severe thunderstorms. Now after that point, it transitions into tomorrow, or day two as they call it, and we have a low risk across the entire region. And the same situation, all hazards are possible, but the good news is since we're in that low risk, all hazards are in that low risk as well, and hopefully they remain that way. But we'll get some updates for you as we go through the morning. So here's what we're looking at. The tornado risk is low. We have the low hail risk as well. It comes right up to the state line, right to the 69 corridor here. And then we have a low to slightly elevated wind risk out there as well. This is, again, overnight tonight between, say, midnight and 2 a.m. After that, then it spreads across the rest of the area as a low risk. For today, between here and there, all we've really got to deal with is very gusty winds out of the south, pushing about 30 to 35 miles an hour, and the clouds increasing. We're eventually going to have mostly cloudy skies. Here's 3 a.m. Now, I want to say this too, and I mentioned it earlier, but I think the future track is about 2 hours slow. I think we're looking more at about 1 a.m. So if we take 2 hours away from each of these points here, I think that's what we're really looking at. So about 1 a.m., we got this line just outside of Yates Center rolling into Eureka, into Greenwood County. By about 3 a.m., now we've got it through Yates Center, knocking on Chanute's door, into Fredonia, and right outside Coffeyville, Independence, and Bartlesville. And as we get a little closer to that same point, let's say about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, here comes this line. Now, it does look impressive on here. That's thunderstorms for sure. But look at how disorganized this line is. And that's why we've got to watch it, because it may not. That's why our severe risk is relatively low, because this line may be bringing some strong to low-grade severe storms for sure. But it's so disorganized that the greater threat doesn't look all that fantastic in our area. The greater risk for more significant severe weather is going to be off to our south and east. Now, this line gets through by about noon or so. I will have a brief moment, and you see out west even maybe some clearing before another round of scattered showers and storms gets going after about 3 o'clock tomorrow. Now there's a low pressure system attached to all of this, and as it starts to track to the east just to our north, it will switch the winds out of the north. Temperatures will begin to fall, and we could even see a brief transition to some light snow or a light wintry mix. Now we're not anticipating too much in terms of accumulations. We're not worried about snow totals by any means, but we could be dealing with some light snow or at least a light wintry mix leading to slick spots as we go into Wednesday morning, and then eventually that will clear out and we'll just be left with gusty northwest winds. We also again have the high wind watch for most of southeast Kansas. It does mean that there's at least the conditions possible for wind gusts outside of thunderstorms, upwards of 60 miles an hour with sustained winds of 20 to 40 miles an hour. But again, this is a high wind watch. It's not a warning at this point, but it is something that we do want to keep a close eye on. Temperatures this morning, not too bad. We've got upper 30s, and most of us, though, low to mid 40s out there. So not a bad start today, a little above normal. Upper 40s to start, upper 50s by 11 o'clock this morning. Again, mostly cloudy and breezy. And we'll make eventually the low to mid 60s today. We'll do that again tomorrow with mild overnight lows. With the winds and the clouds, we don't drop too much. Then temperatures drop tomorrow night into Wednesday, pretty chilly, only in the mid 40s, so lower than normal. A cold Wednesday night into the 20s, but it's short-lived, that little taste of winter, as we start to warm back up heading into the weekend. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Lise now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, this is the worst flu season in 15 years, and doctors are worried it could also lead to life-threatening brain complications in children. The CDC says 86 children have died from the flu so far this winter, and at least 6 experienced brain complications. Now, this comes as the Trump administration canceled a meeting to plan the next flu vaccine. Well, there are still some big racial disparities when it comes to hunger among U.S. families. A study published in JAMA Network showed during the pandemic, when government food assistance rose, food insecurity decreased among white Americans, but it didn't change significantly for Hispanic, Asian, or Black families. Now, since the pandemic, food insecurity has risen for all groups. And women of color tend to pay more for maternity care than white women. A study by the University of Maryland said there are disparities in the out-of-pocket cost for women with private insurance. The data showed Black women paid an average of 74% more, Hispanic women paid 51% more, and Asian women paid 4% more. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, Wildcat Glades works to clean up and restore Shoal Creek with the help of volunteers.
And we got a warm and windy and cloudy day out there ahead of thunderstorm chances overnight tonight. Look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, dads and daughters dance under the stars in Pittsburgh at a Hollywood-inspired event.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:31. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Monday, March the 3rd, and we do want to pass along some breaking news that we've got this morning. Apparently, due to an issue with the Southwest Power Administration, which services or provides electricity to most of Carthage, the majority of the city of Carthage is without power this morning.
Right.
So this is something that apparently went on early this morning around 4 o'clock or so, and CWEP is reporting that they've got their power generation station online. They're trying to get some power back on, but until the SPA can fix the issues on their side, they are aware that according to them, most of the city is without power in what they're calling a town-wide outage. So if you're in Carthage, if you're without power, maybe you're watching us on streaming on one of your mobile devices, be aware. The city is aware. The electric plant is aware.
They're updating their outages map.
Yeah, they're working on this right now. But again, if you have business in Carthage right now or this morning, keep in mind most of the city is currently without power, and they do not have an ETA as to when it will all be restored, but they are working on that. So just some information to pass along. And it is unrelated at this point to what we've got going on this morning weather-wise, because we're relatively calm aside from some gusty winds out there. So we'll keep you updated on that as information comes in. And we're going to update you now on what we're expecting for today in the forecast, starting with a look outside. Downtown Pittsburgh. See how it looks a little hazy out there? We got the clouds increasing across the region. They will continue to do so. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. It's looking okay, looking back roughly to the west. Again, clouds will continue to increase. Now, we're expecting to be dry today, but breezy is going to be a concern, and especially parts of southeast Kansas here. The bulk of you all under a high wind watch until Wednesday morning, rather. And in this zone, we could see winds gusting upwards of 60 miles an hour. That's not associated with any storms we may see. That's just the winds gusting that high with sustained winds of 20 to 40. Now, again, this is a high wind watch. This is a possibility, but it is something we want to monitor, especially if you're traveling on east-west roadways. If those winds really start howling, it's going to be major concerns for travelers, and of course, no burning. There may not be red flag warnings, but you don't want to be burning when there are 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts out there. As for the rest of us, again, breezy today. Clouds will continue to increase through the afternoon and into the evening hours. We will be dry today. However, after midnight, and that's where this today factor comes in, is because this runs until 2 a.m. tomorrow, we have a low to elevated elevated risk for some strong to low grade severe thunderstorms across the area overnight tonight. Now, after 2 a.m., this spreads across the entire region. We got a line of storms that will be coming in after midnight tonight. We will break down the details on these storms for you here in just a few more minutes. But to go ahead and get you out the door again for today, we've got a couple of upper 30s here and there, most of us in the low to mid 40s. So kids getting on the bus, about the mid 40s on average. South winds again gusting to about 20, mostly cloudy. Still cloudy when they come home, a little warmer, low 60s. Those south winds gusting 30, maybe 35 miles an hour. Ahead of our highs today, going into the low to mid 60s. Breezy, eventually cloudy. Now again, we have the storms coming in tonight, and a few more possible through the day tomorrow, and then maybe even snow on the backside of all this. We'll go over all those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Lisa?
All right, Chris, thanks. Wildcat Glades in Joplin is working on its Shoal Creek restoration project. Workers removed invasive plant species such as winter creeper in hopes to make room for native plants. Now, officials say native plants help feed native wildlife. The native plants also prevent soil erosion, helping to improve the water quality of Shoal Creek.
It is a large area, and it needs a lot of hands on it to get all this stuff cleared out, since we're having to do it by hand. And we wanted to give the community the opportunity to contribute.
5 volunteers showed up to restore the habitats. Frank Layden Elementary hosted its annual school carnival, bringing together students, parents, and community members for a night of fun and fundraising. From balloon pops to beanbag tosses, mini golf, and a press your luck game with teachers, the event was packed with activities for all ages. Kids enjoyed bounce houses, face painting, and cakewalks, while parents took part in a silent auction featuring community donated items, including a Pitt State signed football helmet and Chiefs merchandise. Well, dads and daughters danced the night away under the stars in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Parks and Recreation Department and Memorial Auditorium hosted the annual event, bringing a Hollywood-inspired touch to the evening. Organizers began planning in November, spending 2 days transforming the venue for the event. Food was provided, and the night was filled with music, laughter, and memories that will last long after the final song played.
How important it is for fathers and daughters to bond, because it is kind of sometimes hard, especially since, sometimes fathers aren't for sure, should we do glitter, cupcakes, what are we going to do? Here, we just plan it all, you just show up and have fun.
The theme of this date night was Hollywood, complete with a red carpet entrance, twinkling lights, and a touch of movie star magic. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Bitcoin and crypto values surge after President Trump's crypto reserve announcement. And we have a warm and cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. On Consumer Watch this morning, the value of Bitcoin and several other cryptocurrencies shot up Sunday after President Trump posted on social media his digital assets working group is moving forward on a crypto strategic reserve. Now, the president repeated his pledge to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world while listing Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano as under consideration for the reserve. Well, this Oscars weekend, Captain America: Brave New World continued to soar atop the domestic box office for the third weekend in a row, bringing in $15 million. Last Breath, the true story of a 2012 diving accident, took second with close to $8 million. Horror flick The Monkey was third, earning more than $6 million. And let the good times roll at Krispy Kreme. Tomorrow, customers who come in wearing Mardi Gras beads can get a free original glazed donut. The deal is limited to only one donut per person with no purchase necessary. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
And we're going to start with a quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Again, clouds continuing to increase across the region, and it will eventually just be cloudy later today. Otherwise, not looking too bad. Same from the MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line in Joplin. We want to remind folks, at least at this point, still a high wind watch for the bulk of southeast Kansas through Wednesday morning. That is, again, because we could see eventually these winds. We're going to have gusty winds across the region, but out in this zone, if this is upgraded to a warning, we're talking wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour, and that's not associated with any storms we may see. That's just the winds, and they could be sustained from 20 to 40 miles an hour. So we'll definitely want to keep a close eye on this if we do see a high wind warning go into effect later today, which we'll monitor. Outside of that, again, gusty winds for everyone, at least 30 to 35 miles an hour. Clouds increasing as we head through the afternoon and into the evening hours ahead of thunderstorm chances, which will increase overnight tonight. After midnight, we have that chance. We have a low to slightly elevated risk for some strong to low grade storms. And then after about 2 a.m., that risk expands across the entire region for some stronger storms, at least the first half of our Tuesday morning. Temperatures, again, a little chilly in some locations. We have some upper 30s here and there. Otherwise, most of us still hanging out in the low to mid 40s, so a bit above average, but not a bad start to the day. So kids getting on the bus, we're looking to be right around the mid 40s. South winds gusting to 20, and when that bus brings them home, still mostly cloudy, still windy. Those gusts 30, maybe 35 miles an hour. It'll be about 63 when that bus returns home. We'll have another foliage forecast, talk about these thunderstorm chances and some snow chances here in just a moment. It's also about time to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. Of course, all that coming up right after the break. But first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCoble. Coming up on CBS Mornings, big news. America David with the unlikely partnership now helping thousands of people who are leaving prison get a fair shot at a brand new life. Plus, reaction from the Oscars. It's Hollywood's biggest night. It'll be a big morning for us as well. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Monday birthdays. We're going to start with Bradley Johnson celebrating birthday number 9. Happy birthday.
And also celebrating birthday number 9, happy birthday to Colton Pengrave.
And heading over to Fort Scott, Emerson Ratcliffe celebrating birthday number 11. Happy birthday.
And happy 11th birthday to Janisa Ferraro. It says, happy birthday from your family. We love you so much.
And in Farlington, Marone Schupbach celebrating birthday number 14. Happy birthday.
And a happy 15th birthday to Olivia Wheatley in Chanute. It says, happy birthday, love mom and dad.
And in Pittsburgh, Jennifer O'Banion celebrating birthday number 38. Says, mama loves you a million times over.
And in Seneca, a happy 43rd birthday to Matt Miller. It says, happy birthday from Maddie, Emma, Chief Mom, and all the rest of the family.
And in Independence, Natasha Dillon celebrating birthday number 47 today. Happy birthday.
And in Parsons, a happy 54th birthday to Mike Haley.
And in Joplin, Sonia Ritchie, a friend of the station, or it says here, happy birthday, Trouble, from your friends here at KOM, celebrating number 55. Very happy birthday to you, Sonia.
And in Jasper, a happy 68th birthday to Sheila Harris.
And in Columbus, Dale Roten celebrating birthday number 90. Happy birthday, Dale.
Back over in Jasper, a happy 18th anniversary to James and Heather Buchanan.
And Terry Tyree Jr. celebrating another year wiser, says happy birthday from your friends and family.
And in St. Paul, a happy birthday to Deb Schoenhofer.
And back to Chanute, Eunice Shrimplin celebrating another birthday today. Happy birthday, Eunice.
And continuing our list with a happy birthday to Andrew Jones, turning 39 in Parsons.
And Gary Fletcher in Baxter Springs celebrating birthday number 49. Happy birthday, Gary.
And happy 77th birthday to Peggy Papin in Chanute. It says, happy birthday from your classmates of 66 Fredonia High. Have a lovely day.
And last but certainly not least, also in Columbus here, Cindy Dunnick celebrating another year wiser. Of course, that's another great list of birthdays and anniversaries. We'd like to celebrate more of them, and at least has some information you need to know.
Yes, go ahead and submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include those photos and messages to, of course, meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen, and to also include the date of your celebration when submitting as well.
Absolutely. Very important information to include across the board there. And we have some very important information for you in terms of the weather department. So let's take a look. This is our outlook. Our severe weather outlook. I'm just checking to see if anything has changed yet, and it has not. Here's what we're looking at. We're going to break it down for you. First, again, day one from the Storm Prediction Center actually goes another hour or two into tomorrow morning. It's like, I think it runs through 1 or 2 a.m. Tomorrow. That's just how they do it. So this is really after midnight. And who else just saw that? Just changed right there. The next one was due out at 7 a.m. It literally just updated. Regrettably, as you can see, the elevated risk area has now expanded. Now, again, this is after midnight tonight. And if this is updated day 2, which is tomorrow, it won't update until afternoon today. But I'd be willing to bet we'll see some of that because this will run after midnight when we'll see a line of storms roll in. So now we have a low to elevated risk across a portion of the region here. And then that'll translate into what we have is right now a low risk across the entire area tomorrow for strong to potentially severe thunderstorms. So since this updated, the next graphic we have is the breakdown, and so it literally just happened. So this information here may not be accurate at this point. So we'll just look at what it looks like. Here's what we've got. Okay, so some good news. No major changes to the tornado risk. Still low. It's there. Oh, we don't like that it's there, but it's still low. That's good. It didn't change. The only thing that changed, it looks like, is the wind. And that honestly isn't surprising. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But we do have that low hail risk and we have the low to elevated wind risk. We've just seen that wind risk be expanded. The elevated zone just simply got expanded across the area. And again, this is going to be after midnight tonight with a line of storms that's expected to come in. So here's what we're looking at on the future track. Today, I know it's confusing. That's one thing when I started learning the weather years ago about the Storm Prediction Center. It's a little confusing the way that their days work because they'll bleed over into another day sometimes. And that's the case again. So today we're dry. No thunderstorms, nothing expected through today other than it's going to be breezy and the clouds will increase across the region. After midnight, and again, I think the future track here is maybe about 2 hours slow. I think this is going to be more about 1 a.m. We're going to start to see this line of showers and storms just outside of Yates Center into Eureka, parts of Elk County. We get to about 3 a.m. Now we've got the line of storms from just outside of Chanute through Yates Center, Fredonia, and back through Elk, Chautauqua County. So we're talking Howard, Sedan, and just outside of Bartlesville. That's 3 a.m. By about 5, 6 a.m., now we've got this line of storms that's rolling in right along the 69 corridor. So here's what we're looking at. The line itself, as you can see, is somewhat disorganized. And I think that's one of the reasons our threat, at least through tomorrow, at this point is still low because, yeah, these storms are probably going to have the capability to bring some strong to severe activity. They're going to be disorganized. We're not looking at a significant or widespread event at this point, but we still want to keep a close eye on this, and it should be coming through right as we're going on the air with the KOAM Morning News. So, of course, we'll be tracking it for you all morning long, and Doug and Lindsay will have more information later tonight. Now, that line, that's the primary risk with any stronger storms. It starts to wrap up by about noon. We'll get a little break, maybe even some brief clearing before we see additional scattered showers and storms not expected to be severe at this point as we head into the evening. That's as this low pressure system tracks across to the east, just to our north. So it's right about here, just east of KC on 70. We get winds out of the north behind it, bringing in cold air, and you can see what that looks like. Now we're going to go from spring to winter again, with the possibility of some light snow or a light wintry mix as we go overnight tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. Now you can see the temperatures here, a bit of a non sequitur with what's being shown precipitation-wise. That's why it may be more of a wintry mix. It's also why, at least at this point, thankfully, we're not worried about any kind of accumulations from this, but it could lead to some slick spots. Still very breezy, and then colder, much colder and well below average as we head into Wednesday afternoon. And I do want to remind folks again, we still have a high wind watch for the bulk of southeast Kansas through Wednesday morning. It's just a watch, but in this zone, we could see winds, non-thunderstorm winds, gusting upwards of 60 miles an hour. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on the storms for you. And when we transition over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., we're going to tell you about a bowling alley in California that has turned itself into a safe place for autistic children.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Wilson County Rural Fire Department responded to 2 different grass fires over the weekend. The department battled blazes south of Fredonia and southeast of Altoona. The county is currently not under any burn ban. The department decided to use the opportunity to remind people if they have brush piles burning that it's important to check and recheck them. And some business and restaurant owners in Ozark, Missouri are complaining about a new service fee on their utility bills. The new service fee will support regular inspections of grease traps. However, some business owners say they already pay to maintain the traps on their own. Ozark City officials say the board approved the fee to prevent costly blockages and sewer backups. And Wildcat Glades in Joplin is working on its restoration project of Shoal Creek. Workers removed invasive plant species such as winter creeper in hopes of making room for native plants. Officials say native plants help feed native wildlife, prevent soil erosion, and helps improve the water quality of Shoal Creek. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, breezy today, south winds gusting 30-35, clouds increasing and will be in the low to mid 60s. As we head into the evening we're still dry, we are cloudy, we are mild. Temperatures won't move much. After midnight, we get a line of showers and storms. Some of those could be strong to low grade severe, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. We'll fall back low to mid 50s. Showers, storms scattered through the day. We'll have that line in the morning, which we'll keep a close eye on. Scattered storms in the afternoon, and then we get on the backside of this low pressure system. We could even see a brief transition to light snow or a light wintry mix late Tuesday into early Wednesday. Much colder on Wednesday. Then that's short-lived, though. We start warming up toward the end of the week. And I wanted to mention quickly, we've been following most of Carthage without power, just saw from CWEP. The problem seems to have been resolved. They're reporting everybody should be back online at this point, so some good news there.
Absolutely. And coming up today at noon, we're making beefed up split pea soup in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOM with CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news can, excuse me, I guess I'm losing my voice, continues. And this morning, we'll hear from a few theater students as they prepare for the production of The Importance of Being Earnest.
That sounds like your power is about to go
I
out.
know, right?
Lori Horton also back in the studio. By the way, if you could smell how it smells in here, I'm starving already. But she's going to finish up those king cake candy crackers. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. Again, thunderstorms possible as we come on the air tomorrow. We'll be here tracking those right here at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.